I will never know peace. Never again will I know peace. Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse, and I talk about books and book-related things, and today I am giving you my January wrap-up. Now, it is January the 29th? The 29th today, Sunday, January the 29th, and that means there's only 2 days left of January. While I could definitely finish some books between now and then, I will not going to, because I've already done the book blanket blocks, and I'm not fucking it up. If you're new here, I do stats heavy wrap-ups at the end of every month, and I also am, I think, the first person to do the crocheted or knitted or whatever book blanket. I could be wrong, but I was doing some research and I think I'm the first person to do it, but I will talk about that more in its own individual video. For now, we're going to talk about my January wrap-up. Now, let's get that show on the road. I actually have it in a journal this year. Instead of bringing up my iPad or bringing up my laptop or dealing with all of that, I have it in a journal this year. I think that this gives more of a good vibe rather than the electronics, so I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see how it goes. Right? Okay, let's get this show on the road and start right off the bat with some of the stats from January. I read a total of 20 books, 5,629 pages, and I listened to 59 hours and 36 minutes worth of audiobooks, which is a total of 2 days, 11 hours and 36 minutes. My average rating was a 3.5, so not the highest. I think it's because my ratings range between 3 and 4 predominantly. I don't think I had a ton of 5-star reads this month, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. My average pages per day was 179.9. I have been reading with my eyes predominantly. I've not been doing a ton of audio compared to usual, so I don't know what's going on with that, but I am doing it. I also listened for an average of 8 hours, 54 minutes, and 19 seconds per day. I wouldn't go that far. I think it's more just that I had really long audiobooks for the audiobooks I was listening to, but I don't know. Anyway, I purchased a total of 1 book for $20.99, which will add to my grand total for the year of $20.99. Obviously, that total will increase as the year goes on. I checked out a total of 5 library books. 2 of my books that I read this month were rereads. 5 of them were audiobooks, 5 of them were physical books, and 10 of them were ebooks, which just really reiterates my whole, I was reading a lot this month. I read a total of 11 adult books, 6 young adult books, and 3 middle grade books. And you know what I didn't include in this notebook that I just was bragging on? The page lengths. That is the thing I forgot to include, was page lengths. My bad. So I am gonna have to reference my iPad. I've really ruined the vibes here. Anyway, I read for pages 1 book that was less than 100 pages, 2 books that were between 101 and 200 pages, 1 book that was between 201 and 300 pages, 5 books between 301 and 400 pages, 4 books between 401 and 500 pages, which is wild for me, 1 book between 500 and 600 pages, and 1 book that was more than 700 pages. And that is predominantly our stats. I am going to go over our genres, but I do recommend whenever it does get posted, watching my January book blanket update. It will also talk about the genres, but we'll go ahead and go over them here. I read 2 sci-fi books, 8 fantasy books, 1 romance book, 2 thriller books, 2 classics, which is wild, and 5 horror books. I don't know if I said that one already, but 5 horror books, so I am doing better than I did in November, October, November, and December. As a lot of you know, I was going through some very traumatizing things. I'm still going through said traumatizing things, but you know, you gotta work through them. So having gone through those things, dealt with those things, I am finally on the tail end of the book slump, the reading slump that I think that this has created for me. So I'm glad about that. We'll see if that continues, to be what's happening. Fingers crossed, right? With that being said, I am going to talk about the top and bottom books of this month. The top 2 books this month, normally I have more, but I'm like a top 5, but because it's still, my reading numbers are still relatively low for me, I don't want to say 5, top books, because that would be, like 25, what, 25% of the books that I've read? So, not 25, I can't do math. Is it 25%? Oh, it is 25%. Anyway, way too many. So I am just going to give you the top two, and that is going to be first The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Now this is a novella that I read, and it's also a classic. I don't read classics. If you've watched my channel and you've heard about the things that I don't read, and you've heard about the things I don't read, it's mostly like romance and classics. I don't read them. The fact that in the very first month this year I read a classic and that it's my top book this month, crazy. This episode is sponsored by Sonic. No, it's not. This is a Sonic hard seltzer. It doesn't taste good. I don't recommend them. Moving on. And I'm gonna have to get up again to let my dog back in. I will never know peace again. Never. Anyway, moving on. The Yellow Wallpaper. As I was saying, classic books. I don't read them. It was crazy. Crazy! No, I needed an audiobook. Sometimes I just need an audiobook. I need to hear none of my own thoughts, and all of my TV shows are boring, and I need something. And this was one of those days, but I didn't want something that somebody had recommended to me. And I had tried to listen to some Jane Austen books because I do want to try to read classics. But I was like, romance is not it for me. Also, by the way, if you have Jane Austen recommendations, I will take them based on, I'm only taking them from people that know what I read at this point. So if you've been watching my videos and have an idea of what I read. Anyway, The Yellow Wallpaper. This is a book that's semi-autobiographical like The Bell Jar is to Sylvia Plath. So it's not autobiographical, but also it pulls a lot from their own personal real lives. And The Yellow Wallpaper is written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and like I said, it's a novella, so it was less than 100 pages. The audiobook was like 2 hours long, maybe. I listened to it and finished it taking my dog to the groomer and then picking my dog up from the groomer. Like getting ready to go to the groomer and then coming back, really. I finished the audiobook that Scribd happened to have. I don't know if it was an abridged version. I truly don't know. It was short, sweet, and it covered the basics that I needed. And it was unnerving for many a reason. The lady is like convinced that something is in her wallpaper. And I don't mean like behind it. I mean in it. Inside her wallpaper. Which is horrifying. And she slowly reveals like what her husband is doing to her, kind of, through these like manic writing sessions. And when I was reading up on The Yellow Wallpaper, it turns out that the author experienced postpartum psychosis, which I did not know was a thing. Someone should have told me that was a thing, because I plan on having kids, so now I'm a little bit terrified. Don't want that to happen. Would not have a good time. 0 out of 10. And it was just unnerving. And I really like a horror book that makes me uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable. It's why I've been reading Year 11. I read The Stepford Wives this month, and while it was okay, I wish I hadn't seen the movie first. That's not a part of the good books, but I'm just mentioning like classic horrors. I've been reading them. I have thoughts. Now, the next top book is one that Art recommended to me, because of course it is. And it is Breathless by Amy McCullough, and I was late coming back from lunch because I was holding my breath listening to this book while doing a puzzle, and I was so incredibly stressed out. This is a thriller about mountain climbing people, and I don't know, it's any kind of thriller wherein the people are stranded somewhere stresses me the fuck out. And part of it is because like I work in technology, and not being able to use my technology in a time of need stresses me out. I like being able to Google things anytime something's happening. If I don't know something, I can Google it at any time, and I really like that, and the inability to do that, and also the inability to contact somebody during that is very stressful for me. Also though, not knowing who done it, who's doing it, and what's happening, stressful. And the ending provided me no peace. Not even a little bit of peace. I'm still stressed out thinking about this book. So I recommend it, but I don't, because it was stressful. So those are the top 2 books this month. Now for the worst book this month, it is the second classic that I read. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, right? Reading out of your normal genres. I don't know what genre this falls into. So like the Yellow Wallpaper falls into like horror, classic. This, I don't know. I think maybe romance, but I don't really know where the romance was, so... And that's coming from me, who's like, there's too much romance in this book. I would have loved for someone to have been in love in this book, because I don't think anyone was. Anyway, that book is going to be Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Sullivan. I read it because I have read many a book that was like, it's very Valley of the Dolls-esque. And I don't understand why we use that reference. Having read this book, I'm confused. I don't know what this book was supposed to be about. It felt like reading the tabloids of the world's worst celebrities in the world. Yes, having to say in the world twice was important. I hated this book. I rated it 2 stars. I think I only finished it because I had the audiobook at the library and it was short and I was like, okay. And as I'm sitting here listening to it on a night I couldn't sleep, I was like, does this please get any better? Because right now I'm not having a good time. And no, the answer is no, it does not get any better. And I was very confused because several of the people I'm mutuals with had rated it 4 stars or so. And I know sometimes that we don't have the same opinions on romance or contemporaries, but these are people like my own people. Like, we like very similar books a lot of the time. I was very confused. I do not understand why this was rated so highly by people who like the same books as me. It was not a good time. It was, nothing happened, but then a lot happened, but not like in a plot continuing. It was just so strange and I did not enjoy it. And I'm also pretty sure that I watched a documentary about this author or about an author that wrote similar kinds of books that were like about celebrities without being about celebrities. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. Anyway, that's my wrap up. This was a super chaotic wrap up, but I am trying to, I don't know, script my wrap ups, right? Duh. I have to, or I'll be all over the place. Even scripting this one, I'm all over the place. But I also, like, I want to have more fun with some of the content that I make, especially the repetitive monthly content I make. And so sometimes I do want to include some of the, like, dumb things that are happening around while I'm trying to film, like the cat and the dog and When Will I Know Peace and all of that. I don't know if this works or not, but filming it this way is fun for me, so we will see if I continue to do it or not. I also feel like it brings things back to maybe like a year and a half ago, where I was very transparently myself. I feel like in the beginning I was very like nervous about being myself, and then more recently, because I was having to keep so much to myself about what was going on in my personal life and I just couldn't talk about it, and admittedly that situation is something that's been going on for 7 years, but I had to keep it more to myself in the last year than usual, like why I eloped, etc. That it made it hard to be kind of transparently, chaotically myself, and I feel like I'm kind of able to get back to that. I don't know. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below. If you did not enjoy this video, also let me know in the comments down below. Let me know how I can make it better for you, how I can make this more enjoyable for you, etc. I would love to hear if you've read any of these books. Do you like the Valley of the Dolls? You know, those kinds of things. Do you have Jane Austen recommendations? I'm ready to take all of them. Please let me know. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every single week, and so I will see you guys again on Thursday. Like I said, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, which I think I also already said, so sorry in advance. But don't forget to drink your water and take your meds and do something today to take care of yourselves, like not reading Valley of the Dolls. Okay, thanks, bye.